everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talk Nurse with me. This is the segment on my channel where I talk about various nursing related topics. Some things that I don't feel like are discussed enough in the nursing community are other things that may be discussed, but it gives us a platform and opportunity to talk about it together. So I'm here with you today. It is just me, as you can see. We will be going over another court case today. So if you are interested in that, then just keep watching. I do not have wine. As you can see today, I am sipping on some water. Y'all know, if y'all been watching these episodes, that I've spoke about trying to be healthy and all that fun stuff. And I do have some healthy alternatives that I'll probably continue to drink on the episodes. But today we're doing water because I'm going to go out after this with my friend, and I'm most likely going to have a glass. So I want to be double dipping, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to be drinking water today. Plus I got to get my water intake in. So that's what we're going to do. So no wine highlight today. I did want to talk about like a brief subtopic that I'll probably flesh out later and do a full episode on, but it kind of correlates to this court case just a bit. So I first want to talk about the concept of VIP patients before we get into the court case. And just so for those who are watching, in particular for the court case that we'll be discussing is Christann Gainey, I believe is how you pronounce her name. That's the nurse. We'll be talking about her a little bit later, but first we're going to get into VIP patients. So I want to talk about, like, do y'all believe that VIP patients is a thing? Not whether or not the healthcare system supports VIP patients, but do you as the nurse treat patients like they're VIP? I personally do not, because I don't care who you are. Everybody is the same to me. I don't see why, because you're the hospital CEO wife, why should you get special treatment than grandma over here? I don't really like that sort of thing. I'm like, it's the same doctors, it's the same nurses, it's the same care. So if there are some systems that need to be changed and you see how raggedy it is as a patient, then maybe you could tell your husband a little something. But I mean, I don't like how VIP can you get in the hospital? Like I'm warming up, making sure your food is really, really hot when you get it. Like, I don't know. Like, we normally do that anyway. You getting the same warm blankets as everybody else, same pillows. Like, I don't know how VIP it can get. Now, I am based in Houston, so in the medical center, I do know that they do have some, I think, lavish things for VIP patients there, because the med center, for those who don't know, is like the largest one pretty much in America, if I'm not wrong. If it's not the largest one, it's one of the largest ones. So a lot of important people do go to the med center, but I primarily work at community hospitals, and I just don't, even just my basic, like, not understanding, but how I feel about the situation is I'm going to give you the same nursing care no matter what. But I think depending on where you're at, you might get a little bit more if you're at the medical center versus the community hospitals if you are VIP. I did see somebody post on Facebook the other day in a nursing group, like they were hiring people to work on a particular floor, like a VIP floor at Houston Methodist. So I thought that was interesting. So I kind of want to talk about, like, what do y'all think about this whole concept of VIP? The only way, like, I think someone is VIP is if they're like a celebrity or something, like a noticeable person. And I only feel like they should be separated for the general public because of their safety sort of thing. Like, you don't want people coming in and out of their room and everybody having access to those sorts of people and whatnot. So those I would kind of consider VIP, but it's not going to change the care that I give you. It's just because you're a public figure and like security issues and things of that nature. And that's kind of why I lean more so that way for those particular people, because I'm just like, say, for instance, I don't know, I'm Megan Thee Stallion popped in my head, I guess because she got shot in the foot and that case is ongoing. But say, for instance, it's like her in the hospital. Like, you can't have her on the floor with everybody and their mama, and then like we leave the doors open, or even if we close it, people just be walking in. Oh my God, Megan Thee Stallion's in the unit. Oh my God, let me go see her. And you know, she's trying to heal. You know what I'm saying? So that sort of environment is not conducive. Like, I wouldn't want to be seen in that state if I was a celebrity. So I do feel like for celebrities, they're VIP, not in terms of the care that will be provided to them, but because of who they are socially. I also think too, what I was gonna say. I also think too, I guess they could sort of be VIP if they have more like they have more resources, so they have more access to certain items. But I feel like everybody get billed at the end of the day anyway, so the doctors always do like what's in the best care for the patients or what they think is. So I mean, like if they think you need this $1,000, $2,000 chemo drug, then your insurance could get charged. Like I really don't know how all that financial stuff work in healthcare, but that's the only other way I could kind of think of how you could probably be VIP is you have other access to other things, but I don't know how far that'll go, like in that type of environment. So y'all let me know down below in the comment sections, how do y'all feel about VIP patients? Do y'all think it's a thing, or do y'all kind of think it's along the lines that I was talking about, more so it's like their social status? Like if you the hospital CEO wife, like I don't care about you. Like I care about you just as much as I care about my other patients. Like, but I've had that before where I've had to take care of family members that worked at the hospital. So they kept saying like, oh, this is such and such grandma. I'm like, that's nice, but I don't care. So that's how that is. People do that for nurses too. Like if somebody finds out you're a nurse and you're hospitalized, they try to treat you better. But I'm like, you should be treating everybody like that. So that's why I don't believe in it. But we're going to get into this court case, and until y'all just ride with me until I can find out like a better way to present these cases, like in a particular order that I want to present the information in. But I did get most of this from news articles. I was trying to find like some more in-depth information to give you guys. So this is all the information I have, and I'll link the different news sites. But honestly, if you just look up ABC or CBS or like any of the, I don't think CBS, but whatever. If y'all look up any of like the news stations or stuff, they kind of have it all the same way. I even went to a couple of nursing journals and they had a little bit of extra information, but honestly, I'm kind of going to tell y'all verbatim what the sites are saying because that's where I got my information from. And then we'll elaborate on like, what do I think about it and why is this a problem and such and such. So the nurse that we'll be talking about is Christann Gainey. As I mentioned before, she's an LPN that works at Cathedral Village. So we're going to first start off with the scenario and what's going on here. So Gainey was working this particular shift. She was caring for 39 residents. So she's like working, it's like an LTAC or SNF. So long-term care facility or a skilled nursing facility. So I'm not too knowledgeable on what's a normal amount of patients to have in those settings, like nursing homes and stuff like that. So if y'all are, y'all go ahead and let me know down below, because I've only ever worked in hospitals and I would avoid them type of situations because for this reason here, it's too many patients in my opinion, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So in this particular shift, she was caring for 39 residents, and the patient who actually died, he had an unwitnessed fall at the facility on the night of April 12th. This is back in 2018. And that ultimately led to him having a brain bleed that led to his death, they believe. So post-fall, the nurse was supposed to be doing neuro checks and vital signs, in which she did not. She falsified documentation. According to CMS, which is Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, this is like the policy they have in regarding to falls for these type of facilities. For any resident with the potential for head trauma injury or having an acute change in level of consciousness, they will receive 72 hours of neurological evaluation following notification of the physician. So the night that she actually worked was April 13th. So she had him the following day. He had fell before. So according to this policy, CMS, you're supposed to evaluate them 72 hours from the fall. So she was like on night one or day one, whatever. So she was still supposed to be doing neuro checks and vital sign checks. So the policy states that neurological assessments should be completed as follows: every 15 minutes for the first hour, every hour for the next 3 hours, every 2 hours for the next 4 hours, every 4 hours for the next 16 hours, and then every 8 hours for the next 48 hours. And then the neurological assessment includes this is what you're charting. You're taking vital signs, you're assessing the mental status of the patient, you're checking pupils, motor function, and reflexes. So when they did a report on this, the Pennsylvania Health Department officials released a report, and it said actually that this fall was like one of many for the patient. This was his 5th fall, and he had only been at Cathedral Village for 4 days, which is kind of crazy, but I'm not judging just yet. So he was admitted for rehab following a stroke. So for those who are familiar with stroke patients, a lot of times they can be impulsive depending on what side of the brain the stroke was on. And they can have one-sided weakness. I was going to say left side and right side, but one of the sides of their body might be weak, which is causing him to fall too. In addition to him possibly being impulsive and not aware mentally and not having poor judgment because of the stroke. So it was his 5th stroke during a 4-day stay at Cathedral Village Retirement Community. And there was multiple problems that went on with this. It wasn't just Christann, I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. It wasn't just her that was failing to do stuff. It just so happened that he died on her shift. But when they did the report, they also found out the staff failed to develop a fall prevention plan, even though his medical records indicated it was required. They failed to complete required neurological checks after his falls and did not attempt to perform CPR to resuscitate McMaster when he was found unresponsive. So those are huge issues in addition to Christann falsifying documentation. I mean, that's just outright wrong. At first, initially, when I first saw this stuff, I thought he fell during her shift and he died during the fall or whatever. And then that's why she was getting in trouble. But apparently she was charged with felony neglect and involuntary manslaughter initially. But going through the process of the case, she ended up pleading guilty. I think she took a plea agreement or whatever. And she pleaded guilty to misdemeanor neglect of a care-dependent person and tampering with records in the 2018 death of McMaster. And we kind of talked about the VIP thing because he was a former Trump national security advisor. So, I mean, honestly, he wasn't taken care of very well. So the VIP didn't mean nothing to him. But Gainey ended up being sentenced to 6 months under house arrest with another 4 years of probation, according to court records. And she was barred from seeking reinstatement of her nursing license or working in a care facility during the time that she's on probation and house arrest. So she didn't actually go to jail. So there is that. I guess I kind of do somewhat agree with the charges since she did falsify documentation. I don't think that him falling and then him dying because of the fall is her fault because, I mean, he didn't fall on her shift. And even if he did, she's caring for 39 patients. So it's what is she supposed to do? But for me personally, I definitely think that he should have been a priority. I don't know how this works because I've never cared for that many patients. But if I were to, I would think that I would make him a priority since he's been falling all the damn time. I'd be keeping a special eye out for him. And especially since they have protocols surrounding the neurological assessments and how often you're supposed to be doing, which a lot of people were saying it's impossible for her to have done because of how many patients. But because he is my priority at this point, I would probably be neglecting the others to care for him. So that's kind of how it is. Sometimes, I'm sorry, everyone does not get equal care in healthcare. If you are have less going on, you'll still be checked on, but not with the frequency that somebody else would. So it'd be that type of situation for me where I would be caring for him a lot because of his acute issue versus somebody who's has been stable. You know what I'm saying? So the prioritization would have been a little bit different because it's like stable versus unstable type of thing, acute versus chronic. So especially with it being so tedious with the charting and stuff like that, I probably would have done it him first, or whenever it was supposed to be done, I'll be doing that. And then I'll try to fill in the gap and go see whoever I need to see during the meantime. But like I said, I've never cared for 39 patients, so I don't even know how you time manage that. So that's a very difficult situation to be in. Also, hold on, y'all. Sorry, I'm texting my friend. She's talking about she about to leave. Like, that we said 3:00, Miss Ma'am. Okay, she just said that. She said, never mind, we going at 3. Okay, we're good now. So, I don't know how to time manage that because it's just kind of like, what does that look like in real life? It's easy to say what you would do in somebody's situation until you're in the situation. So that's why I'm not really passing judgment on her. I do want to stress, however, that we need to be careful with our licenses. And if you feel uncomfortable in certain situations and you don't think that it's appropriate level of care, like some people were saying, like it wasn't possible for her to do like adequate charting on that patient because she had so other patients going on. When you got report or when you were talking to whoever you were talking to, you should have foreseen that. Or I mean, it's ideal that you would have foreseen that, so then you could have advocated for yourself and be like, hey, this patient has like too much going on, there's no way I would be able to do this, and then care for everybody else. And then at least if you said that, you could chart that you had that discussion. You follow the proper protocols. That way, if something does happen on your shift, you're not held liable, because then you could say, well, I spoke to this person, I spoke to that person, I spoke to this person. I told them that I did not feel comfortable and things of that nature, and they still told me to go ahead. Now, I did read somewhere that she did try to notify the doctor and they didn't respond for like 2 hours or something like that. I read like a lot of little different information here and there. I really wish they could just like write everything out and make it plain so we can really get an insight of what's going on, because a lot of stuff with nursing is very like variable depending on what all was going on. So apparently it seemed like she did try to reach out to a doctor regarding the situation and they didn't contact her back for a while. So there is that. That's why a lot of people are having problems with nurses being charged, because it's like, what about the other people, basically? So I think that Pennsylvania Health Department were looking into a lot of other like LTACs and nursing homes and stuff like that. They're going to start investigating a lot of them to make sure they're up to par, basically. So I just think that everybody should be held accountable, and it shouldn't just be nurses. If you're going to criminally charge people, or if you're going to criminally charge nurses, you need to criminally charge everybody. That's just how I feel about it. And if you're not going to do that, then don't criminally charge people. A lot of this stuff is system issues, like safe staffing. That's a system issue. But that's why I say it's kind of on us, because they're just going to do whatever y'all allow them to do, because I'm not going to do it. But if you a nurse, whatever you okay with accepting, they'll ask you like, oh, are you good with this? Or you're comfortable, you feel okay? And once you say yes, like they're gone. Like they're not trying to worry about you no more. You said you could handle it. So then they'd be like, all right, well, I gave them the opportunity and they didn't take it. So, oh, well, sort of thing. So that's why it's so important for you to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself, and kind of have like, you gotta have a backbone and let them know like, no, I don't feel cool with like taking this assignment, or this is not appropriate, or you need to find somebody else to do it, or you need to help me do it, or something. Y'all definitely have to like start doing that, especially since now they're criminally charging nurses on things, and things can come back to bite you. As y'all seen, like a lot of these cases are from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and things, you know, they follow up on. So make sure y'all take the proper routes. If y'all are in situations like this, make sure y'all document everything. Make sure you do everything in your power to like resolve the issue. And then once you've taken all the proper steps you could, like, then it's not on you anymore. Because it's like, even if the patient did die, it's like, well, I told this person, I told that person. At that point, what are you to do? There's nothing left to be done. I've done that several times actually in my nursing career. Now, kind of circling back, because we did talk about, well, I want to talk about several other things. So we talked about protecting licenses and prioritizing how I would prioritize. I want to talk about the fact that she falsified the documentation. So how do I feel about that? I feel like if you couldn't do it, maybe I would have actually just charted when I did do it. I don't believe in falsely documenting, because at least if she didn't do that, she would have just missed documentation. I think that might have made it worse that she lied and said she did and she didn't. You know what I'm saying? I think that, you know, after advocating and saying like, this is not possible, like I can't, there's no way for me to do this, somehow in the charting, I think I would have kind of, well, I would have charted that. I would have said like, oh, I attempted to reach out to this doctor, or I attempted to do this, I attempted to do that, I followed up. It's really time consuming, but you have to do it because like situations like this where you're getting criminally charged. So I wouldn't have falsely documented. I think that whenever I could get to it, I probably would have just got to it. But seeing as though, I think they said it was like 8 things that she misdocumented on when I was reading about it. Depending on the timing of when he actually fell, she shouldn't have had to do it for like, I think she should have been like at the every 2 hours for the next 4 hours sort of thing. So even if it's not exactly on the mark, at least it's charted, hell. But I don't think I would have falsely documented anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that might have made her situation worse. But circling back again, like I said, just make sure y'all do the best that y'all can and tell the appropriate persons what's going on so you can cover your butt. I do want to get into like, because there was a lot of issues that was going on with the facility, and I think they're going to follow up with them about it. But it just sucks that it's falling on the nurses. So they also talked about how the staff failed to develop a fall prevention plan, even though his medical records indicated it was required. I kind of think that's crazy because it's just like, that's basic. So the fact that that wasn't done, like I said, I've not worked in long-term care facilities or SNFs or anything like that. So I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it seemed like it would make sense already. The man had fell so many times that you would try to put him close to the nurse's station. Y'all would have done like, I mean, that's what we do in the hospital. I don't know what it looks like in a nursing home. So if y'all are familiar, definitely let me know down in the comments. But you would think that they would have tried to cover their butts better, because it's like, this was bound to happen, especially since it was like his 5th fall. Like, one of these falls go break a hip or do something. You know what I'm saying? So there is that. And then they did not perform CPR to resuscitate him after they found him responsive. In one of the journals, I believe it was, I read, they said that he didn't have like a code status. This kind of goes back to the other case that we were talking about before. We were going over DNRs and advanced care directives and stuff. If someone is not like having a code status, you're to presume that they're full code. So I don't understand why when he was found unresponsive, that stuff wasn't done. Because this is all just like, it's just like adding up. Like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I know some stuff can be tedious, because even in the hospital, like, bed alarm is easy because you just walk by and do it. But it's just like some little stuff that they say like to do for like falls, like, oh, put the non-skid socks on, oh, put the floor mat down, bed in lowest position. I mean, bed is easy, you know. Call light within reach is the thing connected to the wall, like, so it can ring outside. It's like, since there are particular things that are to be done, just make sure y'all do those, because as y'all can see, whenever there's a gap, and it's like, well, you were supposed to do this, but you didn't do it, it's going to come back on us. And until the system can get better, we're going to have to assume responsibility for ourselves. It's like, it sucks because we know that this is not correct, but it's going to fall back on us because we were aware of the situation and the issue, and either we did not follow up with it, or you know, basically it happened during our shift. So, you know, we could say like we need better hospital systems, we need better this, we need better that, but that's honestly going to take longer to do than you just trying to cover your butt and do everything else. Like for them to repair this healthcare, like that's going to be some years, like more than 5 for sure. It's going to take a while for that stuff to happen. So in the meantime, y'all need to chart, y'all need to slow down. Don't let people rush you. Don't let them be like, oh, well, you have to do this within this certain time frame. No, I don't have to do anything. I need to make sure I chart it correctly. I need to make sure these medications are administered correctly. I don't need no outside distractions because I have stuff to do that involves patient safety, and that's my priority, and my license is my priority. So don't let people bully you around or do this, do that, or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's coming back to bite us in the butt because we're trying to take shortcuts to appease administration or whoever who's rushing you to fill out some damn whiteboard when you got something else going on in another room. So make sure that y'all like keep y'all focused and keep y'all priorities in check. Make sure y'all are accurately assessing y'all patients. I know me and Paige talked about that in one episode. Some nurses don't actually assess their patients and some do. Just make sure y'all stuff is accurate, because when stuff comes back 2-3 years later, you have no clue who that person is now, and all you have is your charting records. So make sure when y'all call a doctor, make sure y'all make a note. Be like, hey, the person's blood pressure was high. I asked the doctor for PRN medication. He said that no new orders were needed at this time. We'll continue to monitor. Make sure y'all doing that little stuff, because you never know what will happen the next day. You're not at work and then something happened with that patient and they come looking at you like, but did you know about this? Did you know about this? Did you tell this person this? And it's just like, shoot, I don't know. I had 5 patients. Like, you know what I'm saying? So start early. That's what I do. I start my med pass at 8 so I can take my time, and because I want to be done sooner. So as soon as I go on that floor, I get a report. I'm going in to assess the patients, because you cannot trust the previous shift. Unfortunately, a lot of people are found dead during shift change. Make sure y'all going in that room to do bedside shift report, or you're going in there with the, like, do the report outside and then you go in and look at the patient together. Y'all doing something together. So if something is wrong with the patient, you can be like, what's this? What's that? And you can hold the other shifts accountable and be like, well, can you do this before you leave? Can you do this before you leave? Because you don't know that person at that point. You're just going based off of what they say. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all check them big things, restraints, Foley's, you know, central lines, any incisions, if they had surgeries. Like, don't skip I wouldn't even say that small, but don't skip certain steps because they're crucial. Make sure y'all know, like, how oriented is this patient. I had a cold stroke the other day. Patient was NIH score 5 at the beginning of the shift. Luckily, I had done it because they were asking when was his last known normal. I knew the exact time of the last known normal. So all that stuff plays a part, you guys. I want y'all to take that with you in your nursing career. If you guys have anything extra to add below in the comments, just comment that down below. We'll continue to talk about it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Like this video, and I will see you guys next time.